Welcome everyone to this edition of Auditorium series. Welcome to Vince
Hello.
and Talal. مرحبا بك. Okay. Okay, so today is a special episode. We brought together two creatives, and we're talking about creating to connect, which is basically like a journey of self-expression for both of them. And it's a window into the lives of two creatives and how and where their creative journeys took them to where they are today. So as we all know, creative journeys is like a representation of time through the journey of the creative self and where it takes you, where you started, where you've been, and where you're at now. So I think we can all agree. First, you can introduce yourself. We'll start with Vince. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Hello. I'm Vince, artist, designer, creative, number one.
Welcome.
Thank you. Pretty much artist my whole life. I'm from New York, born and raised in St. Lucia. Moved to New York when I was 10 years old. Did most of my schooling there. Always been a creative my entire life. Super like early start. It was like when I was a kid. I remember when I was a kid, I used to like make like soup with my mom, for example. She would give me like dough. Right? Craziest thing, dough, like soup with like dumplings. And she used to give me like dough, make my own like little creatures, put in it for my soup. After my mother died, grew up like living in the streets, living with like different people on my island, with like different family bouncing around. Moved to the US. Always been a creative. In my pastime as a kid, not having anything to do, I would like find random things to make. I would like make kites. Number one, finding like garbage bags and like thread from like my sister, or like was it twigs from the street to like put together to sew things. Moved to the US, got like a better understanding of art, better understanding of everything around. Did art school, and then yeah.
That's very inspiring. Thank you, Talal. I think your mic is behind you.
All right.
هلا بك.
So, my life story, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was born, and I'm here now.
Interesting.
You want to know what happened in between, I'm guessing.
Well,
Yeah, well, I'm Talal, guys. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. It's an opportunity to share a little bit of my journey. I can sit here all day and tell you where I graduated from and what I did for work, but I think all this is irrelevant. My true journey started when I decided to just quit all that and leave it behind me. I felt it wasn't what's really making me happy.
Okay.
So I wanted to do what I like best, which is traveling.
Okay.
And I went from there. I tell you, I went all in on it. Like I'm talking about, I sold everything I had, gathered whatever money I could gather, and even sold my car.
Okay.
And I started traveling. This is where my journey started.
Okay. Amazing. Before, I feel like we skipped so much. You're like, I got sick of everything. I just want to go on. I want to know, because it's curious thing. Creatives, some of us, like spend their lives studying and doing something,
I did all
focusing
that
on it so much, and then kind of like finding out somewhere along the line that this is not really what you wanted to do.
This is not what the case with me. Here's the thing.
Yeah, that's where I want to know.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
when
okay.
it was a decision, more of a decision I had to take. And I was asking myself this question, like, is this really what I want to do my whole life? And the answer was no, but I was lost. I didn't know what to do. What's the next step? I didn't have a solid plan. But like I said, I just believed in it. I went all in on it, grabbed my backpacks, said goodbye to family and friends, and hit the road. I started with the States, ended up in India, all the way in up the mountains, Nepal, Tibet. And along the journey, like I met some great minds, got exposed to different cultures, different way of thinking. And with that came also the music. Like I was, I discovered some nice scenes, like festival scenes, especially like in particular psytrance, and that's that's where it's all the love came. It started, you know. What else you want to know?
So it's true that, I mean, you said you just kind of made that decision and want to move forward. I guess you knew that at least what you didn't want, which I think is the first step in moving forward in any direction that you want to go on.
Right.
And I think it's really important to note that with creativity and, you know, with your creative journey, where you want to go, you have to be brave and you have to be bold about what you want to do.
Exactly.
While you're being brave, it doesn't really mean that you should kind of be irresponsible. So, because being brave and bold is not being irresponsible, it's more about being, or knowing at least, that if you don't want something, you have to take the consequences of your decision, you know, to be mature enough to move forward. And I understand, Vince, you were talking about school, and you said that you just decided at some point that, I mean, I'm really great at it, but I know I can do other things. So I don't want to retell your story. You should tell your story here. I'm just really excited. But why we usually talk about switching careers and things like that is because, you know, the creative community understands this as well. It's a matter of making decisions and being bold enough to kind of move forward them and really believe in yourself and have the confidence in yourself. You know, I can do this, because if you believe it, other people will too. They will see it in you. They will sense it in you. So have you faced any challenging switching these careers? I mean, we can start with you. You can tell us a story and then we can move on to Talal.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I've always done art and I've always chose art in anything I did. I've only had like one like job outside of art, which was like working at a Walgreens. I don't know if you know, there's like a pharmacy.
Yeah.
And the only reason I did that was to hang out with my friends. Right. So for me, as long as I'm hanging out with my friends and we're bouncing off of each other and we're feeling each other's energy, and as long as it's creative, I'm down for that. When I was in high school, I worked in a museum for 4 years. Right. So that was like one of my favorite things to do, because I was like learning. Like one of the biggest things about being creative is like taking in information and then putting it into something else. When I was in working at the museum, I used to teach art to kids. I would like learn about the art and then show them how to make the art.
Wow.
Right? So that's like one of the coolest things for me, is like learning about different things and learning how to implement it into my own. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Amazing. You see, for me, I told you I didn't have a plan, and sometimes the best plans is not to have one. So along the way, I start picking up ways, you know, different ways of being independent. Like I told you, I just met great mind, different people. I got exposed to, you know, many different culture things, and different. It was so different there where I came from, and that gave me a lot of, you know, vision. And I just.
Did you feel like you made the wrong decision at any point?
Look, you're talking about challenges. The most challenges that faced me was being misunderstood when I took that decision by family, friends. You're crazy, what you're doing, you're leaving, you worked 5 years in
judging you.
Judgment. But at that point, I didn't care. I had to thrive. I had a dream. It just like kept me going. And I didn't know where I was going to end, to be honest. But it ended up being the best decision I ever made. It got me exposed to like many things that I discovered myself. It was a journey. I can say it was a journey to discover myself. And it's the most exciting journey ever. To know who you are, to know what you love. When I left work, I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I will be lying to you if I sat here now and told you, oh, I wanted to be this. No, I didn't know. Like most of us.
But you made a hard shift, right?
It was a hard shift, but there was a gap. It wasn't a transition of careers from becoming a banker or someone that works in an office to a musician. No, there was a gap that I needed to discover myself, know what I really like. And then I took the decision, oh, yeah. Maybe this works for me. Because this what keeps me alive. This is what I love. I just ask myself a simple question: what do I really love to do?
Amazing. That's where you derived your inspiration.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, what do I really love? Do I want to stay here, hear my boss like talking about like something that I don't know? Look, don't get me wrong, guys. If you like what you do, if you get up in the morning, loving what you do, loving going to work, please, by all means.
Yeah.
But if you have a hidden talent that you didn't discover yet, and you are trapped behind an office, how the hell are you going to figure it out?
You feel like you have another purpose, something else.
Absolutely.
This is not
Absolutely.
What it moves you, I guess. Yeah.
So that's what happened,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where you derived your inspiration.
Right.
Like finding yourself in the creative journey. What inspires you? Where do you derive this inspiration?
It started with traveling. I just wanted to travel, and I went to many places. And from that, I started getting exposed to different things. One of them was the music. And I was really surprised that, oh man, there's not only music, there's a whole music scene, and the things called festivals. And festivals are not only music. You will just be mind blown when you go to a festival. Just to have the experience when people coming together, experiencing oneness, love, sharing, and of course music. That's what connects us. And like art in all its forms.
Expressive art mainly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we come with tattoos. Like,
Yeah.
That's the connection, the deep connection we
The
find.
self-expression.
Yeah, right.
So where do you derive inspiration? Because you're multidisciplinary.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just not, focusing on one thing. You're tackling different things. Can you talk about that as well?
Inspiration, I feel like I find inspiration in everything. Like there's nothing that I like block off for like inspiration, if that makes sense. For me, it's like one, traveling, of course. You get to see what you're so used to, but how someone else does that thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Anyway, you're growing up, you're very resourceful.
Yeah.
You know how to like make something from the minimum.
Yeah. So like for me, when I was a kid, I used to break a lot of toys. I was always curious as to like what made this thing work. I would get a toy. First thing I would do, play with it. Oh, this does that. Cool. What makes it do that?
I remember one day I just took apart the whole PC.
Yeah.
The hard drive. So I just wanted to see what was inside,
Exactly.
like how it was working.
Yeah.
I put it back together again. But...
And then also like finding the connection between different things, right? I have a tractor that does like this, and I have a sports car that does this in a boat. But the one thing that makes all these things interesting or make it all work the same way is a motor. So then I'm more interested in like, oh, what does a motor do, and what can I use a motor to create?
Have you created something using a motor before? Or
So
anything
many
mechanical
things.
like that?
Yeah.
Really? What?
Well, the number one thing was like you needed power and you needed something to move that power.
Okay.
Right. So you had your battery and you had your motor. That was like the first thing I'd like pull up from all my toys. Right. And then find other parts, like let's say like a gear. Okay, cool. The motor comes with the gear. This gear moves this gear, and this gear is connected to this thing that makes this arm move.
Okay.
You know what I mean? For example, learning how to make my own tattoo machine. Right. It's a motor with the needle that goes back and forth. What do you need to do that? Okay, cool.
Some ink.
Right? Beyond just the ink, but it's like I know motors make things move, and I know tattoos are in and out, right? With a needle and ink. Right. So then I decided to take a pen, right? Take a guitar string, put that in together, connect that with a motor that's moving back and forth in the swizzle, and then put that battery on it.
Okay, so you made your own tools.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that's what you're using now?
Oh no. Not at all. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not as advanced to like, make something that's working perfect and consistently. But like understanding how
Exactly,
things
but
work.
then you see with that direction and that drive and that curiosity,
Mhm.
you created something that you wanted to use.
Yeah.
You had the curiosity for that. So that wouldn't stop you, let's say in the future, of making your own tattoo cup, for example. Exactly, because you know what it takes, you know how it works, you just want to like, well, it's an idea, develop something, do something, at least you have the knowledge for it.
Mhm.
And that's where your curiosity came in useful. So the transition from like classical art to canvas on the skin and now like products. So if you could like tell me a little bit more about your journey as an artist.
It's kind of a interesting one, I guess. I would say, like I said, I've been an artist my entire life. I became a professional artist when I was 13. When I was in New York, I was in high school, and then we had like this project to create like a self-portrait. And then I did a self-portrait of myself as a kid, being like super depressed in like a new country. I was getting teased and whatever. Made a painting with like a bullet hole in my forehead. Right? Like, who's this kid? Like, why does he have a bullet hole in his forehead? That draws so much attention, just like letting out what I felt in my art. You know what I mean? from that piece, not the senator, council person for the state saw my art and decided to like put it in a show. Right, my art traveled all through like DC, all through like the Canon buildings and everything, and that kind of like sprouted my career. Right, and then also became a thing of like creating art. Cool, I was like a painter and a drawer. I was really good at that. I kind of mastered it at a super young age. I wanted to try something else that was new.
Amazing. And what has inspired your art, if I may ask?
It's the classical. I feel like when you're in school and you're doing all the like foundation stuff, you're learning about all the beginning, like the Renaissance period. I mean, learning about Da Vinci and like Picasso and all of that. Taking all of those like original things and being able to create it on skin, because those aren't things that were like those. It wasn't a thing that was around in my time. It wasn't something that I was seeing, and I wanted to be the person to create that, make my version of something I've been seeing all around me. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like original, genuine, you know, from expression.
I would say, like for me, what inspires my art. Sorry.
IG live اسمعوك.
Sorry, guys. A visual intensive, another time a sensation, a feeling that I have that I would like to translate to sound and music. So I don't know. It's like my conscious is focusing to grasp the unconscious feeling. Is the way I like to put it. And when I have that state, when I'm in that state, it's time to make music. Let's hit the studio. Because that conscious, it's my conscious feeling trying to grasp the unconscious, you know? So it's all expressed in music and sound. Yeah.
So, I mean, both of you are artists.
Right.
And as artists that have created work, whether it's music, sound, or something that's a physical manifestation, that something becomes like tangible artwork on canvas or things like that. What is the focus? Like, let's say, for example, you created something. Like, I'd come to you, I'm a client. Someone would ask you to create something for them. If I were to get you something and say, do this for me, would I be provoking you?
Well,
Efficiently, effectively?
Well, I feel
Any
like
of you? Questions for both of you.
I feel like it's more about the idea and less of what it is that you want. So you may come to me, it's like, hey, I want this. It's like, I was talking to someone earlier, it's like, you can get a contract to do anything you want, but why are you coming to me? Right? For me, I feel like learning the background and like digging a little bit deeper on why you want what you want, and then creating something for you means more than it's this random thing that you found on the internet. There's like a million other people who has it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I can say, I don't put so many orders down, but
You don't strike me as someone who takes orders.
but well, this is the thing. This is the funny thing. For me, you'll see me accepting, like open, except in two situations. If I'm in the middle of my set, my live set, and someone comes and tells me, "Oh man, please, the volume is too loud," I put it even more louder. This is one thing. The second, which never happened to me, if someone would come in the middle of my set, ask me to put his favorite cheesy song, I would probably turn that down also.
Yeah.
But it never happened. I don't think it does in our scene, because people respect and they know what they're in for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen so many DJs like suffer from this. You don't know how much. You don't believe.
So, as an artist that has created work on canvas, the skin is your new product, right?
New medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what you're using to express, really. Let's because I know like, I think we all have an idea. Tattoo art, when it first started, was just basically symbolism. I don't know, it's a reference for tribes, belonging, like a way to reference something or to iterate something specific, a code or anything like that. But it's developed over decades, and each culture, they have their own expression.
Yeah.
But in modern times now, you can see like regular art being used as tattoos, tattoo art being manifested as normal art on canvas.
Well, I feel like it became a little bit more of a story.
Okay.
I mean, like on canvas, it's still a story, but sometimes you need more than paper and pencil to create that story. I was talking to Talal the other day about, it's like, yeah, you may come to me, yeah, you want this one thing that you found on the internet that you really like. But me as an artist, I was telling him, it's like, I may need like 10 bags. I have this idea that I want to like put out into the world, and I need 10 people to come in and get this one idea, right? You can go to the store and buy 10 canvases and paint it, but getting someone to connect with your story and to have that on their body for the rest of their life is like way more valuable to me as an artist than just like putting it on canvas that anyone can buy.
But you've developed, so now you don't just do tattoo art. Now you've like kind of like moved. For a while you're doing this, you're doing also other things, you're multidisciplinary. Can you also talk about what that has created for you in your creative journey, how that has opened up other things for you?
Yeah, I mean, like Talal said, is like leaving and quitting your job and falling and finding these things. The more you throw yourself into it, the more that you find things like around it, like building a community. I started tattooing. I was tattooing on my own. I didn't do an apprenticeship. I didn't do it like, quote, the right way, right? I was teaching myself, doing my own thing. But then when I started to open up and share with people around me was when it was like, I really found a community in it. Like if you don't share anything that you do, you may create things on your own, keep it in your iPad, keep it in your desk. No one ever sees it, but no one has the opportunity to connect with it. You know what I mean? For me, it's like mastering things and then being able to create things from that, right? I mastered pencil, I mastered painting. My next goal was mastering skin. And then from that, everything kind of grew from there.
So how did you grow? Where did it go now? I want you to say you make jewelry.
I mean, that's like I said, I find it's like the creativity. There's like multiple like different mediums things can come out in, right? Jewelry, I've always been interested, like I said, finding things that exist in the world and creating my version of it. That is like my goal, right? Anything that's there, I have an idea. Ideas start from a sketch. They can exist in any form. My tattoos as an idea can exist as a building, can exist as a typeface, can exist as jewelry.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's about the idea that you have.
That's really cool because it's something that manifests itself in different ways, but it's the same thing, just expressed in different ways. So it creates different value. Which brings us to this, Talal, you know, I mean, for me, trance is like this very complex, geometrical, mathematical, equational, super fast beats.
It doesn't matter about the genre. You can do it in any way. Listen to what you want.
I'm just saying, to me, that's something that's so complex. It's like beyond me trying to understand it is trying to understand Rothko, for example, or Duchamp, for example. But
it kind of creeps on you. Like you don't get it right away. But we're not gonna get into that.
What does music mean to you?
Wow.
And what was the moment that defined this journey for you? Because there has to be a click for each of us. There is a click.
Yeah.
What was your click?
Well, what I can tell you about music, to me, it's the art of arranging sounds. So, and it has to do like with every culture has a sound, has music. So it just nourish my life. It's water my souls. It simply make me happy. That's what's music to me. If you ask me what's music, the moment it clicked, it's when I gave myself enough time to discover that I really love this, and it became my passion. And I thought I love it so much. I hear it more, so why I don't start playing it? And you know, I was really curious about how those sounds come together. It's like a chemical lab. You enter and you start experimenting with sounds, putting those sounds together, and you know, discovering something new. So that was the moment for me where I was, okay, this is it for me. I love this so much. Plus, I mean, it's not the only thing I do, for sure. It's I didn't turn it into a total profession yet, but yeah, it's something that keeps me going.
So you've connected this with your journey,
right?
So your musical career, and
it has to do everything with the journey. Without the journey, I don't think I could ever discover this about myself. Okay. But the journey for sure took me there.
Okay, right. Agree.
Yeah.
He has to. He's an artist.
It's threatening.
It's all about the journey. Like where you end, like the end point doesn't really matter. Right. It's how you got there and
It's
like,
irrelevant.
Everything
Absolutely
that you
Right. It's the means to the end, not the end.
Absolutely.
Because every project, everything throughout the journeys, everything has a, like I'm making something, it has an end. It's start, middle, finish. But it's the means to the end that helps you kind of enjoy this journey.
and that's what you learn.
Yeah. And then you can't learn and you can't experience unless you're like failing and flailing, you know?
Oh,
You
that's
have
another.
to be this like in this like tide. It's like ebb and flow of all this like failure and success and how do you move forward and what do you do, and you have to like fall down to kind of like get up and move forward, and that's really it. That's the means to the end. It's not who am I gonna be, right? How many people are gonna know me?
Exactly.
How many people are gonna follow me? How much are they gonna pay me? I mean, essentially that's important.
Yeah.
But the value as well, kind of like, I think it brings that energy into that as well. What you both have in common as creatives is that you both travel around the world and you've gone to different places and done different things. What's the most interesting place that you've visited that has left a big impact on you?
I'll let you go first.
Right.
Wow, I was hoping you asked this question actually.
Well.
So, the biggest impact in a place. Man, I gotta give it to the Himalayas. I just gotta give it to that place. India, Nepal, Tibet, the journey for me was just overwhelming, I would say. I found a piece of heaven on earth and I couldn't believe that such places exist. You go on the mountain and no car can ever reach there. There's a point where the car stops and you have to just trek for days. And you find people living there for ages. That means it takes you 150 years from your city life and from your modern life. All of a sudden, you're just back in time. You see all the, like, I don't know if you hear about this animal called Ayak or something. It's like a big ball. It's crazy. What is it? Yak. I think yak.
Yeah.
An interesting animal. I'm like, wow, how's this even real? So, yeah, yak cheese. I fell in love with yak cheese, by the way. I was in the gym, yeah. But anyways, yeah, I just gonna give it to hands down, the mountains for me. Tibet, Himalaya, the Nepal and India, they all share the same mountain. And I've been to all three of them.
Okay.
There where I got my first tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in an ashram. It's amazing. Like monks will be just chanting Om and getting you through the pain, and you have to just be in meditative, for 15 hours. And it was just a whole spiritual ceremony. And it's not your normal shop coming. I like this image tattoo. I didn't even pick my first tattoo. They just looked at me, looked at my personality. It was like, okay, we're gonna put some, I don't know, like protection type thing.
Well, I guess we have to go up there and learn some marketing skills from them. Ask them any questions, just trust us, we'll do this for you. I guess that's
I gave them my skin. I was like, I surrendered. I was like, okay, I give you my skin.
Your turn.
I don't think there's any one place, but I feel like definitely moving to the US definitely opened my eyes and like broadened my horizon like tremendously. Yeah.
Which city kind of really did its magic on you?
New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, having to go through like everything. Like New York City is not the easiest place to like grow up in as a kid, especially from like a foreign country. It's like people there, New York is tough and it builds like legends for that reason. You go through everything, you like see so many different walks of life, so many different kinds of people all existing in one place. And you get to learn from all of that. Okay. So it's like that's where I was more interested in traveling. Cool, like New York City has like people from the Caribbean, Europe, Africa. All right, cool. So I have a friend who's a European, I have someone who's from the Caribbean, I have someone who's African. I want to go see where your people are from. I want to go see where your people are from. Okay. And you learn from that and see how that relates to you and your influence in like America. Okay. So,
that's really interesting.
Yeah. So connecting dots.
It's your first time in Saudi.
Yeah.
How's it for you?
It's hot.
I told you. Is it hot, like culturally hot?
Yeah.
Culturally.
Yeah, I mean, school is very interesting. One of the most interesting things I found here was like how people survive in the desert, which I'm always curious about because there's like no water around. It's like, what do you do? One of my friends took me to this like watering hole thing. I was like, are we in a mirage? I was like, I didn't know there was water in the desert. It was like cool. It's like seeing how people like walk around, like the clothes that people wear, how people like worship and like celebrate together. It's like all interesting for me.
I mean, you've been to the UAE before, so you're not like super surprised about, did you have any preconceptions about what you were going to see when you came here, or did you?
I didn't. Everyone around me did.
Okay.
Everyone was like, "Be careful! Like watch what you say. Like, don't say what you want to say." It's like,
Don't
like,
speak.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. Why can't I talk? And I want to have those conversations. It's like, what can't we talk about, and why can't we talk about it?
I mean, times have changed, really.
Yeah, I mean that's another reason why I came here. I realized like a lot has been changing in this part of the world, and it's like I would love to see that happen. It's like being in an area that has nothing and then like seeing it grow. It's like gentrification almost.
So now you can go there and be like, "That's not true. I was there.
Yeah,
that is not correct."
I saw it with my own eyes.
Exactly. So this question is to both of you. Both of you are creatives with an audience, so you're known and people know you in the community for what you do. How does it feel when people choose to attend your show or purchase your product or choose you to kind of, let's say, for both to make a lasting impression on them, whether it's tangible or not tangible?
Yeah. I mean, with tattooing, that was like one of the things that kept me tattooing. It's like you do a tattoo and then you see like the expression on the person's face. It's like, this is something I've always wanted. It's like, let's say, like, for example, someone's mom who died, like they were super close with, the only person they have in the world. And like, they come in and it's like, hey, I want to get my mom's name or like my mom's signature. And it's like some people like cry like in those moments. It's like seeing that and getting to experience that with the person. Like, is the most beautiful thing. Like I said, you can make an art piece, you can put it in a gallery, someone will buy it and goes home with them. You never really get that interaction, but we're now connected, like through like that process of like tattooing. And like that's like the most valuable thing. Like the money, whatever, doesn't matter. It's the experience that you have and the connection that you have from that point moving forward. And you're also able to like make people like leave things behind. Like let's say you just like broke up with your girlfriend or something, or like your parents just died, for example. That tattoo helps you go through that, feel that pain, and then move on. Like I'm also able to help people move on in their lives.
So it's more like I don't want to say therapeutic.
Definitely therapeutic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Man, it feels great, let me tell you. I swear. It's like for me to be able to share my joy of putting certain sounds together. And like you said, like in the live shows, just watch people either enjoy it or not. You see people with a big smiley face dancing, and others, I see them with the big question marks filled with confusion running from the dance floor. And I love it all. Like
So
it's part of the experience. Nevertheless, yeah, and I love it. It's exciting times.
So it kind of helps you, I think, and it inspires you. I mean, I just want to know, is there any time that you've experienced, like, talk about like a negative thing that happened for you, like something, a bad experience that you've had with like in a show or kind of like with any of your clients or anything like that? What is like the one thing that kind of like changed your perspective and kind of like shed light on something, like a bad experience that happened?
I wouldn't necessarily call it bad, but it did shed my eyes. Like,
Negative?
Some sounds, I would say people are not ready yet for it. It comes with high vibration, high PPM, can get people confused. And I had this one incident where I was like, the music I play really affects what's going on, because we had to shut the music actually. That was what I'm not gonna call it. It's a bad experience, but someone had how to say, a bad
Panic attack, yeah.
Panic attack, let's say. Okay. So yeah, and I was surprised. Like everybody, understood, and we even shut the music for that one particular guy in the whole,
Interesting. So even with music,
Yeah.
you kind of like learn things like that.
Right.
It's interesting, actually.
Mhm. But other than that, no, it's all nice. And people are happy then.
Okay, everybody, going to Talal's show, there's a BPM warning before you go. What about you?
I don't think there's something that like changed my perspective, but there is one instance with this girl that came in. She wanted her mom's name, and it was Arabic. And then I told her like double check, like a million times, double check. She called her mom like 30 times. Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? It was right, yeah, but it was just in English. Right? So you know how Arabic goes backwards? It was in Arabic, but spelled in the English
From
direction.
right to left, this is left to right.
It was a mirror image.
Yeah, a mirror.
No, not a mirror image.
From
Like,
right to left, not from left
yeah,
to
so like my
right.
name is Vince.
Aywa.
In Arabic, it'll be Vince.
Vince.
Yeah, so with the backwards, but in Arabic. And, like I did the tattoo. She loved it, everything. I tattooed her friend and then her other friend, and then she sat there and she was like, wait. I was like, yeah, it's wrong.
There's no way in here. That's it.
Yeah. But then I also like learned to like not be responsible for that. It's up to you. You know what you want. I make sure that you check. If it's wrong after that point, that is all on you. It's not.
And then what happened?
She's just gonna have to look at it in the mirror, I
So-
guess. Hey, I got a good
That's
tattoo. That's life. C'est la vie.
So tell me a story about your tattoo. Bring a mirror. It gets interesting. This tattoo comes with a mirror. But what connects you both as creatives is exploration and freedom of expression and confidence in what you do. What advice would you give to any creatives that are struggling to launch their passion or to go forward in that passion with the fear of failing and
Right.
being insecure? Will I make it? Will I not? Am I going to make money from this? How am I going to survive? What advice would you give, given that both of you have had different journeys, but you guys are, similar in a way? What would you say?
Well, to me, it's about life, no? So what is life? Let's ask, what is life? Life is living, and living is to do what you love. Now, taking a couple of fails here and there, some failures, man, get up. You only get more stronger. You'll not believe. Like the challenges you face, the obstacles you overcome can only make you stronger. And you'll discover that there's no problems. There's only solutions. Now, to master that art, I can just say discipline, practice. That's what's going to get you to the next level. And unless you make 5,000 mistakes in what you're doing, don't call yourself a master.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I say like just throwing yourself into it, getting rid of your ego, and just like not being afraid to fail. There's nothing wrong with failing. I mean, that's where you learn the most. If you did everything right, you didn't really learn anything. Just gotta go, like fall in, try it. Like I said, most people like want to try things and will never try things for the fear of failing. Everyone who tried something and failed are the ones that you see and that you envy.
Successful. Yeah.
So
It's a part of the deal.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to be perseverant.
Right.
You have to keep trying, or else you'll never get anywhere. I'm going to ask the audience if they have any questions.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I wanted to see his first tattoo.
My first tattoo.
You mentioned that.
Can I show it to you after the? Because it's okay. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Absolutely, and I didn't even look at it because it was in my back, and that's concreting the ego. Yeah, no, it's not surprise. It's not only surprise. It's not a tattoo for me to look at all the time and flash. You see people getting their first tattoo, and they're wearing long sleeves, and then this sleeve is up so they can show everybody. I understand that, but for me, it was it wasn't about the ego at all. So they did the tattoo in the back, and I couldn't even look at it, and always covering it. Always, sorry.
That's why I'm interested.
Sure, but always covered, always wearing shirt. It was a big piece, and it took long hours, with bamboo style. It's like with a long stick and just poking. So I'm happy to show you. After here, I will not take my shirt off and show everybody. But
Yes, please. Let's not do that. Any other questions?
Do you have any tattoo that you regret on?
No.
Then how do you choose the tattoo before doing it?
Okay, well, the thing is with me, the connections that bring me with my tattoo is my life story. So the tattoo brings me to the state of mind I was in getting that tattoo, the place and the time. So it's gonna stick forever, when that's your approach. But if your approach was, oh, a nice picture I love and I want to put it on my body, you can put it on your wall. If you're gonna put it on your body 2 years, maybe 2 years or less, you're fed up with it, you don't like it, you change your mind about it, and then you decide a tattoo cover up or even a removal. But when your approach comes with that intention, I don't think you'll regret. It's just a part of you telling your story. And another advice I would give, I see a lot of young people in the 21, 22, just discovering tattoo, and all of a sudden they're just inside very fast. There's not a place for them to tell their story anymore. They just cover their whole faces, neck, and they're like just 20 years old. What did you learn from life, man? What are you gonna do when you're 30? If you have a story to tell, where are you gonna put it? So whatever. Take your time, I would say. Take your time choosing your tattoo, and just have the right approach, the right connection with your tattoo. You will not make a wrong decision.
Also, it's never too late. Like when you know, you'll know.
Right.
So
I agree with that.
I have a question for Vince.
So-
Is there a tattoo you wouldn't do?
I get that question a lot.
I asked him this when I first met him.
Yeah, it's like kind of a hard question. I won't tattoo anything I don't want to tattoo. But if it's like something like political, like let's say someone wanted like a swastika or something, or like something like hateful,
Racist.
like I will try to talk to them about it. Like if it's something that you really want to do, and if I really don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it.
So do you think of your tattoos as a reflection of you or the person you're tattooing on?
It's also my work, and it's a connection with me. I'm sharing an energy with you, and it's not an energy that I want to share.
Right.
So
So you draw the line at political symbols. Is there anything else you wouldn't do?
no, you pay me enough, I'll do anything.
I knew that was coming.
Just don't give us anything from Pinterest. Us creatives don't like you to give us anything from Pinterest.
Oh no.
Please avoid
Pinterest is a beautiful place.
Pinterest is hell.
References.
Okay, so I have a question for the both of you actually.
Mm.
And I think this question goes back to this idea of choosing a creative career and a professional creative journey that's related to self-expressionism, right? So from what I've heard so far, from both of you talking, it seems to me like you get this sort of feed towards having these or creating these shared experiences, right? And it's mainly about this idea of expressionism and having this idea of like a shared experience that you have with your audience, correct?
Right.
So going through that journey, I mean, while that's nice and it feeds the soul and it's very exciting and exhilarating at some points, but realistically, like the both of you have across your conversations mentioned a lot that it's more about the creative journey, the experience and whatnot. But realistically, like how do you go for monetizing the shared experience to live? And I think this is the core of the issue, at least for me, right? Like I'm a creative that's not an artist. Okay, but I am a creative still, and for me, transitioning into my creative career was such a big thing, and I still can usually I read and they say like, oh, it's just hard in the beginning, but then you transition and you get used to it, which I can say personally to my story is BS. Like it takes a huge amount of time to really get used to it. And it's not just the beginning. But that said, like, it was all about this monetizing aspect for me, at least personally. And I know for a fact that it's a barrier for a lot of people. Like for you, Talal, it's beyond brave. Like some people will call it naive, irresponsible. You know, to like completely drop everything and drop your life and travel. Like, how do you eat? How do you exist for these 3-4 years? Like living, existing. What if you
fall
have
in love with the
responsibilities?
unknown. Fall in love with the unknown.
Sure, of course.
That's all I can tell you.
Is a part of
Yeah, sure.
but
Let me ask you.
again, you're not
Let me ask.
someone who didn't go through it.
Then
right?
let me ask you a question. Then,
Okay.
what's holding you back? Just ask yourself. No, just ask yourself. What is holding you back from that transition? Like you have art, you have creativity, and you want to do it. So you want to make a living out of it. Is what you're saying? You're afraid if you do it, you'll not make enough money. What's your question?
I already asked myself this question. This was my break-free moment. You know, like I had that moment where it was like, oh, what are you afraid of? Blah, blah, blah. And then what's holding you back? I'm sorry, I don't mean to say blah, blah, blah. But
No, we understand it. We understand
But
it.
yeah, and then I realized, okay, it's a fear-based decision. Sure, of course, because it's like an extreme transition in your existence.
Right.
It's not just your life. But then again, it's this aspect of like, how do I go between this balance of feeding my soul and my passion and what I love to do, and how do I translate that as to a means of living? And I think that's really the biggest challenge, I would say, for us as creatives. It's like, okay, I mean, you were lucky to not have, let's say, family responsibilities, or I don't know if you did, but I mean, like, not children or something to really.
I'm married with 2
down.
kids, man. Listen to me.
How did you live for 4 years?
Listen to me. I'm a clever man.
Okay.
And I know how to make money, you know, without depending on any system or any job. And what I can tell you just have to go for it. Some people do, some people don't. For me, I did it and it worked. Like I told you, before I took that decision, I didn't calculate or have a solid plan or, oh man, I'm going to transition now. I know I'm a musician. I didn't know that I was a musician. But during the journey, like along the journey, I discovered, and you learn, man, doors will open. That's all I can tell you. If you are brave enough and if you trust, you know, believe in what you do. Let me ask you, what are you doing now? You like regardless, do you love what you're doing? Or do you want to really leave it for what you love to do more in life? And if you have the answer, you don't need to answer me, but if you give yourself the answer, then ask yourself this question. Would you rather live a long life doing something it's not you or you don't like so much, or live a short life where you love actually to do this, you know, whatever it is. And if you do it, and if just give me 1 minute. Once you start doing that, like focusing on what you love most, regardless if it's gonna be payable or just you do it because you love it, you live life. And if you do it enough, and you give it time, it will give you back. And eventually you'll master it. And once you do, I'm sure there are many people that will be interested in what you do. And eventually you're gonna make a living out of it. That's what happened to me. I left my job, by the way. I left my job, you know how long? 2 decades ago.
Okay.
2002, 2002, I quit my job.
Okay.
I gathered my money and I put my backpack and left. And doors started to open. I understood, oh, people actually, you know, are living without the system, you know, by their creative art. Some people making makramas. Some people working on their art, some people tattooing, some people making music, some people. For me, what worked for me personally, I can share this with you. It's not that's what I told you. I didn't turn my profession, like the music, into profession that's making me money. Maybe little money, but making me happy. But on the side, it opened my eyes to a festival scene. What's a festival scene? You're talking about 20,000 people, up to 50,000 people, even more. You know what does that mean? That means when you participate in a festival, you can participate not only in performing, you can sell there, you can open shops, you can open workshops, which is exactly what I did. And I worked on the decoration. And ever since, every year, when the festival season comes, it's 3 months, starting in the summer, all over Europe, States, everywhere. I just participate in festivals. And the rest of the year, I'm chilling, relaxing. I just go to festival, 3 months, work, collect my money, and then go traveling the world again. If I tell you, I visit 4 to 5 countries per year. You believe that? And I have no job. No regular job from 9 to 5 is what I mean.
Sure.
So, you know, sometimes you just have to take the step and see where you go.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Vince? Because you would say a lot like, it's not about the money, it's not about the money, but let's get real. Like, especially living somewhere in the States. Like, if you don't pay your bills, you're on the street. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, how do you balance this kind of, because he said a key word, he said eventually.
Yeah, I didn't say it was gonna be easy.
You know, of course, nothing is easy.
It's not gonna be easy.
Even doing the desk job that you hate is not easy.
Yeah.
Nothing is easy.
But I'd rather do something I love and it's not easy than something I don't love. And
of course, because when it's fun, it relieves that kind of difficulty behind it.
Right.
But like, what was it for you? Like the journey of monetizing and finding that balance?
Well, that's kind of where it started for me. With like my art, it would take longer for me to like make money with my art in terms of like putting things on paper, waiting for a show and hoping that the show sells out. For me, it was, I can draw something now, I can put it out and someone's gonna want it. Like I said, there's so many people in the world, whatever it is that you make in the world, there's gonna be at least one person that likes it. There's billions of people on this planet. You know what I mean? I did that for a while. I was doing all the stuff I didn't want to do too, like tattooing, working in like a street shop. It's like a bunch of like Pinterest stuff. Hey, I want this, right? Even if I didn't want to do that, I wanted to learn how to tattoo. So I would still do these things, not about what I was tattooing, but getting the skills to make a perfect tattoo. I mean, being really good at what it was until there was enough people that wanted what I wanted to do. So then I don't have to do whatever else everyone else wanted. I mean, slowly building your community so that you don't have to depend on what everyone else wants. You can show people what they want. And most people won't see what they want until they see what you have to offer.
Right.
That's interesting. Because it's like, I'm going to do what I don't want to do for a while or what I don't necessarily like doing for a little bit. And to you, that was like, in a sense where I'm learning meanwhile. Yeah. And it's like an opportunity kind of, so it's a mindset.
Yeah.
So I guess you would have to still do things that you don't want to do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
If I want to make a product or if I want to make a piece of furniture, but I don't have the money or the resources to do it, I'm going to stay in my 9 to 5. And that's going to be my motive. The money that I'm going to get from my 9 to 5
Thank you.
is what's going to fuel that passion and kind of provide for me what I can create this product. I can do this thing with the money that I have from work. So so you find yourself thinking, if I can take my 6 months salary and I can make with that, I don't know how many, I don't know ish, and then take it from there and kind of just like, then you're gonna want to do really well in your job just because you want to create this thing afterwards. And then that traction will kind of give you the push to kind of be like, okay, I'm done with this side. I don't want to do this anymore. I've done this thing. I think I can do from this something else. So I don't need my 9 to 5 anymore.
Yeah.
For me, it's how it works.
For me, I was just like waiting for my vacation to come. I worked the whole year just for that month for me to be able to travel. Like, I'm just waiting for the vacation to come. And then it hit me. I'm like, man, maybe I should start to create a life where I don't need to take a vacation out of. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what all the self-help books tell you.
And I don't know about books, man.
Make a life.
I don't know about.
Make a life for yourself where you don't need to vacation.
I don't need. I'm always on vacation. It works for me. So I hope it worked for you when you take that decision.
Any more questions? No? Okay, well, I guess then with that we'll close. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
To have you here. I'm proud to have had this discussion with you guys, fellow creatives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I would like to thank each and every one of you. I really love you all, and I worship and I bow to the God of each and every one of us. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.